it's been wonderful, thank you. And the last question for our panelists is, what can we do as a community to change these patterns? So this is the what's next question.
So, spending a lot of time doing consulting work, I've spent a lot of time banging my head against the wall and raging against the machine, if you will. And I find that it's really easy to get caught up in how the system works today and trying to change it when we ought to be working smarter, not harder. And as I got more into kind of human problems and business stuff, and I found that my design skills from software were generally applicable to human systems problems. And I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, they talk about fifth discipline and, you know, systems design stuff, and that a lot of these problems, if you look at what's going on at a system level, that you can fix the problem by redesigning the system. And so as I was working on my book and trying to figure out how to drive what's now turning into kind of a data-driven learning framework, I've also been looking at how do you change these system patterns, but rather than trying to fix existing organizations, I was looking at how can we, you know, redesign the systems of the world to create something new, because we spend a lot of time complaining about, oh, our education system's broken. Isn't this awful that this is broken? And then, you know, we go and try and evangelize and make something happen, and it's like, you know, throwing pebbles at this big monster, and nothing really happens. But, you know, we feel better because we're throwing lots of pebbles. And I think we need to, you know, work smarter and not harder and take a different approach. So what I'm doing is this fall, I'm going to be launching effectively a school called Open Mastery, and essentially, since I work in recruiting and I've, you know, learned from that I can essentially monetize relationships and talent, and we have this massive talent shortage, then I'm like, hey, if we like create more talent, that then, you know, we can get recruiting fees off of that. And so I talked to my boss about setting up essentially a training program in a school that we could take a chunk of the recruiting fee profits, essentially, and then dump those into the education system to essentially create a treadmill for that. So I'm working on taking the learning framework and tools and building a full-scale mentorship program that's focused on the mastery side, so people that are like at that mid-level and trying to get those senior craftsmanship level skills, and being able to bring those people up to the next level. And I'm structuring it so that essentially the teachers will get paid on commission, such that they're incentivized and paid according to how good of a teacher they are, essentially. So what that does is it makes teaching the most highly paid jobs in our profession, which is, I think, how it ought to be. And that from a system redesign standpoint, the disconnect between education and the recruiting, you know, market and how people go and get jobs is, I think, part of the problem. You see, like, the education drifting so far away from what, you know, the market actually needs. And if you couple those two things together such that the, you know, recruiting companies essentially incentivized to provide relevant education, that I think that gives us a model for public education in the future. And so I'm kicking it off, you know, an effort and starting that this fall. And if any of you would be willing to, you know, help me get that going and make it real, I'm going to be touring around the country on this fall, this fall, trying to evangelize this concept.
I agree with Janelle. My idea is, just like with any bad relationship, you can't fix somebody who doesn't want to be fixed or get involved. So I think probably the best solution is to veer off and start something new. My passions are mentorship and training, but also to help those that are having difficulties with entrepreneurship or starting businesses. And I'm in the process of trying to beef up organizationally a system that is geared to help as well. I firmly believe that you know, there needs to be a real restructuring, and the answer isn't to try to beat the current system over the head. So that's my solution.
I think for me, it's really probably just back to a simple philosophy. Gandhi talks about be the change. First of all, I really want to thank all the men that are here tonight. That's really great to see. And I think this is where we started, right? We go back to our workplaces. We talk about our experience tonight. We have gotten, I believe, desensitized, to harsh language, right? We watched the debates and the presidential debate, and we're allowed to say anything on social media, and because of that, we've gotten where it's okay to make derogatory statements about each other, whether it's male or female. And I think we have to stop that, right? We have to step in and say that's not okay. So yeah, I think it's just going back and walking the walk. And making sure this is an issue that we'll talk about and we're aware of, and we treat each other respectfully.
So my advice is give and receive. Look for opportunities where you can, all these different topics we've talked about, take action, do something. There's plenty out there. Understand where the problems are. Offer up solutions. Be role models. I was sharing with Lana on the way here, we are on the radar in Austin to be #1 attractive city for every software company. I would love to see another article that says the best place to work for diversity. It's not just women, it's diversity across the board. That's what I'm passionate about, and if I could quit my daytime job and focus on this, I would do it. But I try to say, get involved. What can I do to help? And get involved to help someone, and plug yourself in too. Where are you getting advice and help to help you in some of the areas we talked about too? So give and receive.
Thank you all. This has been fantastic. Thank you for the most unbelievable talk I've had on the subject, and I've done about 6 of them now. So you're exceptional, and you guys are exceptional also, so thank you for doing the right thing. And if anybody, I don't know if we have time or not, but if anybody has a quick question.
I think we're pretty much out of
time?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe in the hallway.
But you're welcome to stick around afterwards and chat with the panelists a little bit. I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. This is really exciting for us to see so many new faces, and I hope you will come back, like I mentioned, and attend some of our other programs. For some of the special interest groups, some of these panelists and others are presenting. I think Janelle, for example, is going to be at the DevOps SIG here later this month. So, did you mention your book? Okay, I asked her about the book. You have the feedback forms in front of you. Please fill them out. We keep track of how we're doing. Thank you, Paul. I'm going to do what we do normally at the end of our meeting. We do a little drawing. So I'll ask Janelle to give me the sign to stop. And this random clicker will...
Random stop.
All right.